there's a lot of good things happening here in general, and I do think overall you've learned this well, and you've memorized it well, because memorizing Bach is harder than it
Yeah, a little bit.
would seem, right? So, there's three main things that I kind of want to address with it now that you've had it for a little bit. You've got it memorized, and first and foremost, I am going to say that now that it is memorized, continue to practice with the score also.
Okay.
But when you practice with the score, really look at the details written. Now, granted, with Bach, a lot of this may be editorial, but whether you choose to follow those edits or not, write in what you want to do and really follow it. So when you're playing with the score, make sure that you're really paying attention to the dynamic markings that are either there or that we've written in, and any other details or phrase lines that we've written, okay? The three main things, though, that I want to kind of look at are consistency. So there's a couple little spots that we could kind of strengthen. Contrast. I felt sort of beginning to end, it was kind of the same level the whole time, right? So a little bit of touch difference, and we'll talk about that. And then overall phrasing, direction, and line. Those are the three things I really want to tackle with today. So since it's memorized, can you start one more time? And I like the way that you started. It was real subdued and it was nice and articulated, but then we want to try to grow that and keep that as we go. So just one more time, ease into the phrase, ease in, echo in the left hand. Good, so let's talk about just that spot. I know you lingered a little bit on that first note, but think in your head before you start exactly the tempo that you want. So you really get it in. And this goes like in your studio performances, for example, when you played one piece and you went right into the next one, take that time to prepare and think, okay. Sorry, I hit it wrong note. Good, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be extra picky. Don't accent the first note. Good, that was one of the best. I've heard that now. Did you feel the difference?
Yeah, I felt like, I don't know, it wasn't as sharp. It felt a lot more, kind of just grew into it to the whole scale.
Uh-huh, and it was even, and it was shaped nicely, and it was well controlled. So one more time, but when you answer in the left hand, I want it to be the same thing. So you start off really well, same thing. I mean, don't stop like that, but. So think ahead first, right? Get it in your head first, and then start when you're ready. That's okay.
I don't know if I really did it.
No, that was better. I think what happened is now your left hand's kind of overlapping a little too much. So if you can just be a little more fingertips articulate. No accent.
Yeah.
Good, that was much better. Now the other layer that I want to add to this now is the growth dynamically. So, dynamically? Dynamically. Is that a word? If it wasn't, it is now. Okay. So we start subdued. I didn't think ahead, see? So I need to really think. And there it is. Wanna grow. And then, that's what we decided, right? Because we kind of X'd out that forte and made it mezzo forte so that we get our biggest growth here. We put the forte, then we decided on doing an echo there, right?
Yes.
So can we hear now the growth? So It's growing, still growing, there, and then a little more, and then cadence. And so forth. And big. So way more echo, I think. If we're gonna do the echo, let's own it.
Like, so more louder or?
So here you had the louder sound, and then,
Okay.
little more, little more. Yes, so and I think we can take just a hair more time on that cadence too.
Okay.
But that was better. Just be consistent and be careful your left hand isn't overpowering your right, especially when it's the eighth notes. So we want to have shape there too. Okay, so from there, slightly more. Maybe I took a little too much time, but that's the idea.
Okay.
I'd rather you do too much and then we can pull it back. Okay?
Start from here.
Yeah, are you able to start from here?
I think so.
It's good practice for memory to be able to start from there. Really let us hear that echo. Actually, I'll give you this. Yeah, but no less. I mean, you can pull that back even more on that echo. Yeah, it's kind of sudden, right? Think fingertips when you get there. So. That's it. Yeah, can you try it one more time because that was it and I want to make sure it's there. Even less. Can you do even less? That's better. A little more. And more. Okay, good. And now that,
Sorry, forgot about
no, that's okay. That loudness there, that's probably going to be your max because any louder and it'll be harsh.
that. Okay.
So just know your threshold of what's going to be appropriate and what's not, okay?
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're talking about in like studio and the last performance you had, the touch.
Okay.
So you can have a lot more instances of this lighter sound, and that's what I want to explore
Okay.
with you. So this same sound can be the same sound that you open with that real. It grows, still growing, and then the echo. Sorry, by memory, I forgot there. What this growth though does also is one of those 3 points that I mentioned at the beginning, the overall phrase and line direction. It's much better when you're carefully pacing them. And those differences is what really helps that. And in turn, it's also addressing the other concept, and that's contrast. So the contrast and the phrasing in the long line here are kind of going hand in hand.
Okay. Can I try it right here again just to get the feel?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that was good. Now, the one thing I want you to be careful about though is sometimes a couple of the notes will kind of rush into the other one. So sometimes I hear, kind of like that. But if you can get each one fingertip real even, I could breathe, right? And with a piece like this, it's perpetual motion the whole time, so we need those little moments. And I thought your timing of that cadence was much better.
Cool, okay.
Okay, did you feel it?
Yeah, I was trying to be a lot more aware of it that time. Sometimes I feel like when I get into like my muscle memory, I just go at it and I just play. And I feel like that's also what leads to a lot of the problems, which is like everything sounding the same and like not taking the breaks or the pauses. It's just, I just go from beginning to the end with no thought, only hands.
Well, and that's when it could run away from you too. Really having those cadence moments and being able to start from memory at places like that as well. Having those starting places makes it that much more solid. And the last time you performed it, it kind of saved you.
Yeah.
A little bit, because we had worked on those starting places, especially in Bach like this. Okay.
I don't know where. I probably would have had to start like way back at the beginning with the.
Well, exactly, and that's what we want to avoid. We don't want you to have to start back at the beginning, you know. Although the irony here is I'm going to ask you to start at the beginning one more time, only because now that we've done this so well, I want to see if you can put it all into context, and then we're going to go on, okay? So, again, start less, slowly grow, make sure you're keeping your fingertips real active and crisp and clear, okay? I'm going to not talk this time. I want you to think in your head, and I'm not going to say any cues, okay?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, let's stop there and just talk about it for a moment. So this was better than the first time that
Yeah,
you played
I
it.
almost forgot about the echo. I almost forgot about it. I like, for the first note I did, and then I kind of tried to get back into it, but.
Yeah, it wasn't as obvious as a couple of those really good ones that you did. So that's why it's good to start from here like the way you did, to make sure that you reinforce that that's there. Because this is so much more effective when you have those contrasts, and it really helps that overall direction and the phrase. This was a little uneven at the beginning, so
Yeah.
really practice again. That's the reason why I say, take the time in your head to think about it, even silently click with your tongue if you have to. Like, get it in, feel it in your finger before you play. And then make sure that we hear all of these. Even if they're light, we need to hear them.
Okay.
One more time. I keep lying, I'm sorry. One more time. Same thing. Well, I don't hear much contrast this time, right? So you can grow more to that forte.
Okay.
Okay, okay, let's do it again. I won't keep lying to you. You've got it. It's just putting it all together and keeping it all Okay, good. It's there. I still think you can do a little bit more,
Yeah.
but do you understand
Yes.
what you have to do?
I definitely can tell when I feel like I can tell when I do and I don't do it. Like, I know when I do it better, because I can like hear a difference, but sometimes I'm also like kind of forgetting to do it.
Mhm. Well, and that's also why it's so important that even after it's memorized, to still consult your score. The other thing that you can do, it's not the most exciting thing, but it's really useful, is you can sit down away from the piano and score study. Really run it in your head as you're following it away from the piano, and imagine all of those growths and decrescendos and how you're touching with your fingers but away from the piano. Okay, that really helps reinforce it too.
Okay, so that brings up a discussion point that I thought about, because something that I've noticed and something that has kind of scared me is that I have talked to other people about like score studying, like you mentioned, and about like kind of playing it when it's not like they're just kind of playing it like on a table or something.
Mhm.
And I realized that I can't do that. Like I need the piano and I need to be able to like see the piano. I can't like if I closed this, I would not be able to play this.
Huh.
Like I can't do it. And I noticed that that was a problem when I was trying to play with the music. I need to be able to look a lot and I like can't like stay with the music the entire time because I can't see my hands.
Now, how about not actually playing it on the tabletop, but visualizing it? Can you try to do that instead? So don't actually play like in your lap or anywhere, but only mentally visualize a keyboard in your hands.
Kind of, yeah. I feel like I know the part, like I know it pretty well and I know what my hands look like, so
Mhm.
I can like imagine it pretty well.
So you can see it better that way.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And in fact, I think that's even better if you can visualize that way. Because then you don't, probably what's happening too is that maybe a different surface is just throwing you off. Because, I mean, yes, I can imagine it, but it does feel weird because it doesn't push down, you know, and you're trying to do something you're not used to. So maybe just mentally envision it and play.
Okay. I had talked to like Alexis. I don't know if you knew Alexis.
Yeah, I do.
He had told me about that, and I remember my old theory teacher told me that like his sister used to do it until her fingertips were bleeding, and I'm like, how
Well,
do
don't
people
do that.
Like I can't even. I literally cannot even like imagine. But yeah,
Well-
that kind of just led me to discovering the other problem about like not really being able to take my eyes off the keyboard when I'm playing. I always have to kind of be down here, and that's I feel like also a problem when I'm trying to read new music is like I'll have to like kind of get it and I'll be like okay, and that's why I feel like I can't really sight read very well because I can't just be like
Well, you actually though, you do sight read pretty well. I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I think it's just that you feel that you have to keep looking down, and sometimes you do, because there's certain jumps and things that you do have to look down. But with this, I actually want to have you try something.
okay.
I'm gonna take this away since it is memorized. This is a good memory trick too. Start this piece in your head only, totally mentally, and see if you can keep a clear picture of your fingers and what's being played.
Oh boy. Okay. How far am I supposed to go?
Well, as far as how far did you get?
I was at the trill. Like the
Oh, good. So what we've worked on so far,
Yeah.
were you able to picture it all?
Pretty much the only thing I lost it at first was when I got to here. I forgot that it went not like I did something weird. I don't even know. I kind of got lost there, but it's fine. For the most part I was able to imagine it.
See, that's really good though, because I made you do it by memory. And so what that tells me is that maybe that's a spot you really want to zone in on using the music, because you forgot the left hand there.
Mhm.
And most memory slips happen from the left hand. And so that's actually a good diagnostic tool. But also, now look at the score and see if you can do the same thing up to the same point that you just did by memory.
Oh yeah, this is a lot easier.
So you can visualize it.
Yeah, kind of. It's a lot easier with the music. I just feel like I've played it so many times that I know what my hands look like and what it sounds like that I can just like kind of. That part's a little weird. That does not look how I feel like my hands.
But see, what you're doing right now is some successful score study. You're visualizing what you're playing, and you're thinking about the different dynamics, the different sounds, the different shapes and fingerings that you do, right?
Mhm.
So it sounds like you're having some success with that.
Yeah.
So even if you're not playing it on a table, that's all right.
Yeah, I understand that was a little specific. I was just like, it kind of made me worried because I know that like, one time when my old theory teacher was trying to help me, like, 'cause he was a pretty good sight reader, like he was trying to help me study. He would like not let me look down, and I'm like, is that like you're not supposed to look down? I'm like, what? How am I supposed to play? I'm like, oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do have to look down sometimes. Can we try an experiment though?
Yeah.
Since we're talking about this, and it seems like.
I'm sorry, is this off tangent?
No,
Okay.
it's, whatever helps conceptualize the music. And it seems like this is, I'm not gonna say a breakthrough, but it seems like it enlightened your view of score study,
Mhm.
which is important. And I think doing that is really good. I know this is sort of a long run around way, but basically your original question was that, how can I score study? You know?
Yeah.
And so I think this is worth exploring a little bit with you. Actually, no, keep the score, but, let's see. No, your hands won't have enough room. Look up, and, well, you can't, okay, only look at this. What am I, how can we enforce this?
Okay. Wait, I get.
Yeah, think about it. Okay, so that's really interesting, because that's a spot that you told me that when you were visualizing it without playing,
Mhm.
that seemed weird or felt weird.
Yeah.
Right? So what that means is maybe it's just not as comfortable or confident.
Yeah, I don't think I could start there. If you told me to start like right here, that
Mhm.
just looks very strange.
Well, and you don't necessarily have to have that as a starting place, but maybe here, going into there, is something to reinforce and practice several times there.
Yeah.
To really clear that up in your mind.
Mhm.
So that was kind of revealing too. You can play without looking at the keyboard,
Kind of.
but the spots that you already identified as being less comfortable were less comfortable. And this is something too that it helps to be able to look jumping down the octave. Most of us can approximate where our octave is, but it helps to have that visual cue, so that's okay.
So for when I'm like performing like during a jury or like during my capstone and I don't have my music come up, where am I supposed to be looking? Like, does it really matter?
No.
Does it matter?
I mean, one of my teachers once though, I was playing a Chopin piece and I was looking up because I guess I was just enjoying the music. I don't know what was happening, but she says, "Quit looking up, you're freaking me out." So, I mean, be aware that you're not just like out there, but I mean, if you want to be looking at your hands, then that's fine, look at your
Okay.
hands. If you're playing something and you look up, out, and then you look back down, that's totally fine.
Okay, so there's not like a proper way to do it.
No, as long as it's not distracting for you or the audience,
Okay.
you know.
I thought that was kind of like a rule that, I don't know, like an old classical rule that you're not like really supposed to, like, you know how touch typing works and you're not really supposed to like look, you're supposed to like.
Yeah, well, if you're memorized though, there's nothing to look at. I mean, you're
Oh,
not
yeah, that's
reading
true.
music, so, yeah,
Okay.
that's totally
That
fine.
makes sense. Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
good, and I'm not worried about that. Okay.
Well, good, I'm glad we kind of went off on that too, because I think it's important, and it's important to understand how and why to do score study.
Okay.
And I do think that's gonna benefit you. And if you can conceptualize those things in your mind, then it's gonna translate to your playing. That being said, can we pick up where we left off then? Do you have questions on what we worked on?
Not yet, no.
Okay, how about, we just finished that cadence, and we're gonna start where we left. I'll give you the other music.
So this is P. So should it be also like the same way?
Yeah, so remember, we have the crescendo, and that's why it's good to look here, and we did, it looks like we agreed. And these numbers, do you remember what those were when I wrote them in?
Just like how much you're supposed to build for.
Yeah, it's like
Levels of
one
light.
level, the next level, the next level, and what does that do? It's contrast, and it's the overall direction,
Okay.
okay? So make sure we hear the dum bum 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 in the right hand too.
Wow.
Try the left hand once by itself, but really focus on that fingertip quality. So no accent on the first though. Now do it again, but grow each one. So those numbers that we wrote in. Oh, no accent though. And then I think we said, oh yeah, we're still growing actually. So, and then to there, that's all. So how about from here one more time, try adding the right hand. And don't let it be harder than that. Something I want you to try to do, especially in these spots, I'm gonna borrow this just a minute. This is for practice purposes only. Try doing this all staccato. With your dynamics.
Okay.
It can be a little slower, but the reason is because I'm trying to get your hands to be nice and even and consistent, and everything lining up together.
Okay.
Okay?
This feels so weird.
It's a hard exercise.
But okay,
Real,
let's try it slowly.
right? And stay close to the keys, because you don't have to, and you'll have more control if you just.
This is weird. Okay, sorry.
That's okay, I mean, okay, you remember that metaphor I told you? The cornhole boards?
Yeah, passing the.
Practicing at 2 and 4 feet,
Yes.
it actually made the people throwing at 3 feet more accurate than the ones throwing at 3 feet. This is practicing at 6 feet, for example. Try it one more time, a little slower, and with your dynamics. So one more time here, and stop your trill here. It's okay if there's a little delay there, because in context, it's not going to be noticeable. So make sure you stop it there so that you pick up on time. Stop. fingertip. It doesn't come overnight. So I think the more you experiment, eventually you're really gonna feel that lightness that's gonna give you that control.
Yeah, I think that the reason that it's causing so many problems for me right now is that I use a lot of like on thumb under or thumb over, like this.
Mhm.
I kind of like use the twist to help me find the key sometimes, I guess. And so when I'm doing like, say, or maybe it's in the right hand. That would probably make more sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's probably like right about there. I start messing up because I'm going over my thumb and it feels a little weird to like.
So I think a big issue there is that and now granted, I told you do staccato, but even when you do staccato, don't lift your fingers up from the keys so much. Because I think you're getting too far away and then it misses. But see how close and Mhm. Yeah, when you did this, I saw you hop, but yeah. And now, no accent. Oh, so you dropped, right? So start from the key, have your index already on it. Oh, you still dropped. That's better. But you're coming from above. Can you start with your finger on the key? Uh-huh. So you're coming from the key. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Staying close to the keys. Mhm. And make sure those are always engaged. Yes, that was some of the best and clearest. I felt your fingertip articulation there.
Is that so? Should it really be sounding more like that than legato?
Not necessarily, I mean, the touch, yes, but it can be slightly detached. Because those legatos, I guarantee, are editorial.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't be,
Because
but that's fine.
you can't really look like, I don't know too much. Was this written when when pianos existed, or was it still on harpsichord?
Well,
So you can't really do that, right? It doesn't work like that.
the only way you could do it is if you overlap. But even then, because the harpsichord plucks
Yeah,
the
it
string,
doesn't sustain at all, so you can't like,
it sustains less anyhow.
yeah.
And as soon as you let go, just like with the keyboard, it's done, but it definitely decays faster.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have control. No matter how hard or soft you touch it, you get the same dynamic.
Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't really have something like that there.
No, it would be a very different thing. And so that's another thing to keep in mind. Some people that have different schools of thought on the stylistic interpretations that way for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say we have the modern instrument, so let's use it for what we can do. It's a little soupy maybe, but I think that when he wrote it, it was something a little more articulate.
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah.
So, and not to say that it should be like a robot, because they did have manuals. And that's why I think the echo effect is especially appropriate, because they couldn't grow as much like we do. That's one of the liberties we do take, because we have it, so that's why we wanna grow and have direction. But they could have pulled a stop and
Mhm.
echoed if they wanted to, especially if it was a double manual
Okay,
keyboard.
interesting,
Mhm.
okay.
Now, does all of this make sense to you? I mean, how to practice it, really looking at the score details.
Yeah, I think so. I think I need to work a lot more on the second half as like the way we did with this first part, because just looking at it, I can't visualize it at all, and I can't really like find a good place where I know I can start it,
Well, you know why that is, right?
because I started a lot more here.
Yeah, when we start a piece, we tend to start at the beginning, and so we always go back and start over, okay? So when you practice though, you really do wanna probably start with phrases at the end, so that you're catching up the amount of times you played at the
Yeah.
beginning to the end. So that's diagnostic too, that score study and that visualization tells you that you need more work
Mhm.
proportionally on that part than the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you can start to apply these same things. And that's the third thing that I mentioned at the beginning, is consistency. Because that's where you tend to have a little more pause and stop, right?
Mhm.
So you want that consistency, and to do that, you can practice, for example, 4-bar phrases. Really make sure it's consistent, then do the 4 bars before it and stop on the downbeat. Then when that's consistent, put them together and do an 8-bar phrase. Keep working backwards like that, but then, as you do these sections, don't always go all the way to the end, so that way, the ending doesn't become stronger than the middle,
Right, okay,
right?
okay, that makes sense.
So I can let you work with that, but do you have any questions about anything we worked on?
I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of everything. I just need to actually apply it now onto the parts that need work.
Okay, and what are the 3 things that I really want you to focus on?
Consistency,
Mhm.
phrasing, and, touch,
Yeah, or contrast.
or contrast.
Yeah, which does deal with your touch.
Okay.
That's definitely a component. So yes, consistency, especially in that second half, the contrast of sounds, that you did so much better in this first page. So just make sure you keep doing that deliberately. And then that overall direction of phrasing, which by making these contrasts, you have that direction.
Okay,
And part of what makes that effective as well is how we end those cadences and breathe in between,
mhm.
okay?
Yeah, I think I definitely need to breathe a lot more during my, because I think that's why I honestly don't remember not taking a break between any of those. I thought I did a good job. I didn't even know, so I'm like.
Oh, in the performance,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you just
really-
kind of.
I really think that I was not like breathing, and I just was like, okay, time to get it done, and just, I mean, I did have that get it done mindset, so I probably rushed a little bit, but yeah, I think I need to just I feel like I need to be a little bit more aware when I'm playing, because when I do my muscle memory and I zone out a little bit,
Mhm.
and like, that's okay to be in the zone and kind of get into it, but like, if I'm just not there and kind of just playing what I remember, then it's not always right, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, so I'll look forward to hearing this again and what you can do with that. And then we can keep adding on the layers.